Hi there. Maybe adjust this a little here. Okay, I think I'm just on a roll, recording several. So if I get into one of these things where I don't know, I don't feel like doing or saying anything, I'll have something to put up on the web. Well, this is interesting. The one that I had up that I was going to record is one I had already recorded, so I guess I'm pretty well caught up except for this one. And so I'll share that with you. I have so many recorded already, I guess I need to get to converting them, huh? All right. This is from 221. I guess I'm just more comfy writing than going live lately, so here goes. Don't know how to say this, but I'm going to give it a try. You know how you have certain things, lovely things, let's say, to which you're really committed? There are things you really believe in without any doubt, like that. Well, for me, there aren't many of those. And I'll say the main one is truth. It means the whole world to me. And it's been a lifelong love that's only grown and refined me over time. The things we love cause us to let go of things that aren't in consonance with them. Well, I'm going to give a personal example here since it's the most recent and clear one. This last session with Ken, I brought only one question, one line in my notes, which is strange in itself, never did that. And it was this: is Papaji my twin flame? Just that. Now, for those who don't know what a twin flame is, it's a theory I rather accept. As we light beings descend and take incarnation in lower density here in 3D, our wholeness quite naturally breaks out into its dual aspects, the plus minus, yin yang, male female. Though we are one and whole to enter into this level of being, well, it's the level of duality, and so our wholeness comes apart like that quite naturally. Parenthetically, this only happens our first time down into it. Not every time. Once we're split, we're split. What was one is now a woman and a man. Now they are still the whole, still the one, yet each in 3D are also whole in themselves. They are the twin flames. They will attain their wholeness again on ascending up and out of 3D as the theory goes. Meanwhile, they will go through maybe millions or billions of years or embodiments, sometimes together, sometimes apart. And while it'll feel quite special when they're together, as they're really two sides of one coin, that doesn't mean they won't spat and argue just like brother and sister. Now, this is to distinguish from what is called soulmates, which each and every one of us may have any number of soulmates. These are beings whose place on their path is similar or somehow mirrors ours in some way, both the path and the place on it. So our development can go handily together with theirs at that point, making us soulmates. At some other point, you might not be so well matched at all. So it's less to do with the being than where you both are on your path. Knowing that Sita had been a consort of Ram in that life, and if you haven't checked out the other journals, I've discovered that as one of my lifetimes is Sita. I naturally wondered, how close was that match? I felt close beyond close to Papaji, but I just didn't know. So I asked. It's so nice to have a Ken for that. And I got such a lovely answer. Ken often gives those. He said, no, except to the extent that he would be twin flame to anyone so in love with God or Source, for he is too. His answer was something like that. And yes, I quite agree that those who are crazy in love with Source are mates in some awesomely deep way. Okay, what Ken said resonated. It felt right. Thus, I had both inner and outer confirmation and could accept what was said. Now, keep in mind, I am a real lover of truth, which is to me elevated to the status of the divine, too sacred, too high and holy to soil her feet in 3D. And yet, here it is, just over a day later, after getting this news, and what do I notice? I notice a certain level of disappointment. That's the closest word for it, though it isn't quite that. I notice that it hurts a bit, so it's taking some time for me to let go of the idea. What does it tell me? First, this tells me that I had more hope that it was true than I knew, than I was aware of, that he was my twin flame, which is interesting. So often I surprise myself that way, not really knowing self as well as I had thought. But the bigger thing I'm noticing is that even though I have a clear reading on what is true, I had the inner and the outer confirmation of it, I didn't absolutely jump at it and embrace it completely. Instead, there is a sort of dragging of feet in the acceptance. Yet I say I love truth. Do you see? In a way, these two don't seem to match. All right, so it's later now. This is the days later. And as I look at this, I'm going to read it differently. See, the changes are so much. I did a recent journal, and I even recorded it. I was in the midst of doing the conversion, putting the title on it and all that stuff, changing it from the WMV to the MP4, when I threw it away. My consciousness had changed so much, and it was a recent journal, that I couldn't say that anymore. So what I see here now is, just because I didn't jump at it and embrace it and wrap my arms around it immediately and say, oh, yes, yes, that is something that mind would do. Heart is in touch with the parts of you, like the subconscious and the unconscious and the superconscious, the wholeness of you. And so the truth for heart is much deeper because it goes out into that. For mind, if it's true, and that's the beginning and the end and the middle of it. For heart, if it's true, it's got to be true throughout all of that. And so heart will fish down in other parts of self for that which disagrees with this and bring them up so that when it's true on a much deeper level. Okay, meanwhile, back to this that was true only a few days ago. So I say, yet I love truth. Do you see? These two don't wholly match. What we have here is the dichotomy, the duality on parade, which is probably also true. She is and she isn't. She wants and she doesn't. What I wanted to both work through and share in this journal is how we are divided that way and how it is quite okay. It is very fine not to be perfect, not to be straight down one line or another, the line of your belief. Much better to truly know the self than to boss it around, telling it how it should be and keeping it in line. Now, I don't know that this could be called my dark side, the one who isn't leaping into the arms of truth fast enough to suit some part of me. Still, it does fairly represent the duality that's just the natural aspect of 3D. That which we're all in process of healing just now as we get ready. We're in the midst of our ride back home into higher dimensions. If you can't feel it, you're just not letting yourself see it and identify it as that. You have the symptoms. I wanted to share how natural the healing is and how it requires absolutely no effort. Just observation, and that's just fun. That's all I give it anyway, is observation. It is what it is, and it is just how I feel. Yet I know I can trust this real love of truth that I bear. That love all by itself will do all that needs doing. It will heal whatever breach there is, whatever imperfection there may be in my loyalty to truth. We can trust in our divinity. Thus, okay, and I'll step out for a second and say, okay, and the way that it'll heal it sometimes is to bring something negative up into our conscious awareness so that we can see it, deal with it, and work through it. So that doesn't mean something else is going to go fixy over there and everything's all going to be hunky-dory and we just sit on our duff and wait. It's a living path here. Thus, I can just let it be. And I watch, not knowing how long the healing will take, the getting over that which is outside of truth. All is well, in other words. I can rest in the imperfection of the whole thing, knowing perfection is what is real, what is truly underneath all the rest, and perfection will win out, just like truth does. Now, I don't know if that is clear at all. It feels really good to me, though, to be sharing this here, getting it written down. I'm watching the self being danced, and it's fine. Even seeing so clearly what looks to me like imperfection in the self, yet this too is okay. It has to be, since it is what it is, and that's all that I have that is true and real in the now here. We come to the place, all of us, when it's okay to just be the self. When we can truly accept us for who we are, warts, stinky farts, and all. Do you see? Do you get your own, do you see your own divinity peeking out there where you are? Are you in love with that? If you are not, then I suggest you don't really quite see it yet, or you're not in heart. Keep looking. You too are perfect. You are divine, and the divine always loves. The divine love is that. Like magnets they are, it just works that way. I guess it's really that they are one themselves and not separate, something like that, though I don't fully know yet. Anyway, let's all be about pulling and burning every weed in the belief garden that says we're second class, that we're not divine, that we're only human, and all of that. Those are lies, sure enough. We are now and have ever been divine. Nothing else but divine. Just because you play a part in a show or a play that's the villain or someone less than divine, that doesn't make you into that. Hello, you're not your body, you're not your lifetime there. That's so not you. Let's not forget we're an actor in each embodiment. We're not what's on display there. Relax back into the whole, into who and what you truly are, my friend. You can trust that one's arms to be there for you, to catch you, and to tell you that yes, you are truly divine. You are source energy, wrapped up in form, come down for a day and a play, and who stayed rather a while and got a bit lost. Tune back in to that. Let go all the shame, all the blaming of self for absolutely anything. Burn the blame energy, anything at all. The whole concept of right and wrong got so tainted, so twisted up, that it was used to punish and be cruel. That was a misuse of the pure mind, which hasn't been pure for some time, but you are. You could be nothing else, nothing less than purity itself. You, my friend, were never touched by any part of it. As Papaji puts it, nothing ever happened. Now, that may sound nothing but strange for you right here, right now, but that's fine. One day it will make perfect sense. Meanwhile, your heart, your spirit knows what it means and takes great comfort in it. Feel down into that. Even though your mind may not get it, you can still benefit, still be blessed by it. Feel it. You are divine. You never fell. It's all one big lie. Let it go. Yes, we've been abused. Yes, we've been used and misled. But wait. Before you go too far down that path, remember this. It is only mind that was misled, never you. Never the real you. You are source energy, my dear one. You are that. Source can't be deceived. Besides, parenthetically, I'll say, you've played the part of a deceiver yourself in any number of embodiments. The closest I've found to be back in the arms of Source is here, within heart center. You can get the aroma, the scent, the feel of the Divine One and the heavenly love there somehow. I don't understand how that can be, but I don't waste a minute trying to figure it out either. Who the heck cares about such things? It's only mind. Drop that and be free. Right now, right this day, you can be free of such things. Just walk away from them. They are nothing. It is not necessary to understand. Heart knows that. Head doesn't. Now, by your response to that phrase, just that, it is not necessary to understand, you can roughly gauge where your particular mind is on the path of being tamed and brought home. Under heart, a willing servant. But remember, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if this is the very first step you ever took to get some distance from mind. That too is perfectly fine. Just be comfortable with that which is. Whatever it is, that's the very best way. Then mind won't need to be called on to figure things out. What is, by its very nature, by its very existence, turns out to be fine, just as it is. Do you see? Now, yes, I know the bar is set high there. But if you're seeing it that way, then I suggest you forgot something, and something important too. You forgot who and what you truly are, that you're divine. High and higher bars are quite nothing to you. You are that. Dear one, take it in. You are the divine one robed in flesh. As Daniel Brinkley loves to say it, what if God couldn't come today and so she sent you? What difference did God make? Here. You can relax, you see? For perhaps the very first time in your life, or in many lives, you can just sit back and relax, knowing that you are that, and that all is well. Cuddles, cuddles. Oh, he doesn't know how to play, you know? He's just immature and he gets too rough. What can you do? Okay, sorry. Maybe I'll cut this part out. Okay, so you can relax. You can relax, you see. For perhaps the very first time in your life, or in many lives, you can just sit back and relax, knowing you are that, and that all is well. All is always well. Source is in charge of things. Maybe mind can't see just how that's working, but that doesn't matter, not one bit. Mind doesn't need to know, and I can prove it to you. How is that? If mind needed to know, it would. Be in heart. It's what Byron Katie calls falling in love with what is. It's beautiful. She has a delightful book where she shares that. I think it's called Loving What Is. You too are a lover of Source. You are Source itself. Not in its wholeness, of course, but Source all the same. And Source is divine and is ultimately lovable. You agree? Come home, dear one. Stop fighting. Come in out of the bad weather, out of the worry, the fear, the anxiety you've spent so many lives in. That's the doing of the prodigal mind. That's all. No big deal. Just step away from it now. It will soon be tame. You can trust your inner divine nature to see to that. Don't try to fix mind with mind. That's nonsense. It'll never work. Meanwhile, welcome home. Put your feet up. Stay a while.